Okay, I'm gonna go through a quick tutorial on helping you find vital records at WVCulture.org, and you will notice when you get to the site, here's what you see. I met this nice fella over the 4th of July. Anyway, when you get here, you're going to be looking for vital records, and there's the link to it right there. Click that, and you'll notice, if you've ever used this site in the past, that is a completely different URL than they had before. So Julie has had to spend quite a few weeks going back through her ancestry tree and revising the link to the documents so that others can go behind me and find what it is I looked at in order to base my conclusions, where this person was born, when they were born, to whom they were born, that sort of thing. Alrighty, you have 3 choices, and this information right here gives you a good bit of information on how to search. First, word of caution: birth records. Birth records prior to, I'm going to say 1920, 1919, you may be able to find them in here. 1922 is actually the number that's the cutoff date. Prior to that, you might find the record. Of course, West Virginia did not have, they did not keep records diligently from 1858 for the first several years, 1860, that sort of thing. Depended on how far the folks lived from the courthouse. They might make it up there a year later and tell them so-and-so was born on such and such a date. But birth records are kind of scant. Some counties were better than others at keeping those records and sending them to the state. Death records is going to be a little bit easier, and marriage records is going to be very easy. There's doesn't appear to be well, there's a cutoff date when they quit keeping marriage records. I would say probably the 70s. After 1970, you're not going to be able to find a marriage record. But just for giggles, let's go through the birth records. I have an aunt who was she was born and died 3 hours later, 1936, I believe it was. And because I'm kind of sketchy on that year, I know her last name, I know her first name, but I also know that the first name, as I knew her, is not what's on the birth certificate. Therefore, let me show you how to find a record when you don't know what you're looking for or what you might find. Her last name was McGrew, M-C-G-R. Stop right there, because you might get McGrew. Her name might be something besides McGrew, because for some strange reason, people don't know that the name McGrew, M-C-G-R-E-W, actually exists in West Virginia. Took a while for that one to catch on. All right, now we've got more letters that comes after that, so we're going to tell the machine, hey, it's going to look similar to this. There's going to be some surnames or some letters. We don't know what they are. We're going to leave that. We're going to leave the first name blank. Now, I also know that she was born in Kanawha County. If you hit K, yes, Kanawha County. It's the only county in the state that starts with K. I'm going to leave that year of birth blank. And we're going to search through. Let the machine do the work for us. And hopefully you have a speedy internet connection. Alright, we got McGraw, McGrath, McGrew. But she's not that old, so we're going to keep next. There's a McGregor, not her. McGregor, McGraw, John, McGrew. I know I saw some greens in here earlier. McGrath, McGraw, McGrath, McGraw, still. We're looking in birth. Okay. So it's not in the birth records, it's in the death records. Because if you'll notice, the birth stopped in 1918. It's not going to go any further than that. Alrighty. Well, seeing as how she only lived a few hours, we're going to try it again. MCGR percent Canoa search results. Okay. 1915, 26, 29, 32, there it is. McGrew, who'd have thunk? But what you have to understand is that there's a machine that reads this information on the death certificates and determines what the name is going to be. This is what it looks like. That's what the machine tells you it or feeds back here. So just because you didn't find it the first time doesn't mean it isn't there. Alright, so let's look at LV McGrew, and sure enough, this is her death record. Alright, she was died in Kanawha County, Cabin Creek District, town of Glasgow, and it has her as LV Faith. It should say Elaine Faith McGrew. That should be an E, but it's not. Date of birth is on the death certificate. Ta-da! November 5th, 1932. But because she was born in 32 is the reason why there's no birth record to be found. She lived approximately 3 hours. Just give that, oh yeah, if less than. She was no years, no months, no days. 3 hours is what she lived. Alrighty. She was born in Glasgow to H.V. McGrew and Violet Martin. Papa was her, was the informant on this record, and it tells you where she's buried. Brick Church. The little red brick church at Cedar Grove, or Glasgow, whichever you prefer. She's up on the hillside across the road in Woodland Cemetery, across from Virginia's Chapel, or the little red brick church at Cedar Grove. And when you scroll up here, it even gives you the cause of death. The date of death, of course, is November 6, 1932. And the doctor delivered her by forceps, and he crushed her skull. Alrighty. So, you can record that link and add it. Let me see here. Do I have? Yeah, my citation thingamabob. I usually put it right here. I copy it there and copy all of that to put in my tree where it says birth, death, whatever. That way somebody somewhere a year 10 from now can go behind me looking at my tree, look at the information that I have submitted, and they will know that this is the information on which I based a conclusion. Alright, and hopefully hopefully everybody will get in the habit of doing that. But they can go behind me and check that link themselves. Alrighty. I had a cousin recently who was looking for her grandfather's marriage record. Marriage records from way back when, prior to the 70s. A lot easier to find on this website, Vital Records at WVCulture.org. And that way you don't have to go to FamilySearch.org and go through a ton of images looking for the record you're searching for. This is a little quicker. You're not always successful this way, but you can do it. Alright, my cousin's grandfather's surname was Thomas. Her grandmother's last name was Norris. I know they were married in Kanawha County. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. But this was the easiest way. I can't think of any other way to spell Norris or Thomas. Therefore, I put the exact last name. Leave the first names blank. The more information you enter, the harder it's going to be, or the longer it might take for the machine to find the record you're looking for. Don't give it too much information. Search results. And this was the only couple in Kanawha County with those last names to get married. 1926. You pull this up. Now, it's not going to be a certificate. It's in the books. We're going to scroll down here. I'm going to hit that right there. Okay. Let's look at the top of this book right quick. Does it say anything about Kanawha County in here? Yes. Kanawha County Court, West Virginia. This is for 1926. Dude had a funny way of making twos. Sorry about that. That one, those twos are not so bad, but that two, whew. Anyway, what we're going to do, because I know it's down here at the bottom of the page, 224, Thomas, Derry B. Thomas, and Virginia Lee Norris. He was 28. She was 17. Take my word for it. This little quotation mark, that is for March. You'll notice that was a bunch. That's February, March. So we go down here to the bottom. We see that on March the 3rd, 1926, Derry B. Thomas married Virginia Lee Norris. He was 28 years old. The reason I know that is if I scroll up here to the top of this column, I will see he was the husband. That gives his age, the wife and her age, and whether they were single or widowed. Okay. Widowed. Here they were making, what's the word? Allowances for divorced. Widowed, divorced, widowed, divorced. But we're going back down to the next to the last line. Derry B. Thomas was 28 years old. Virginia Norris was 17. This is going to be places of birth. So let me jump up here to the top and show you. Places of their birth. The husband is always first, the wife is second. Places of their residence, husband, wife. Date and place of marriage, gives you the information. Name of the person performing the marriage ceremony. Okay, so let's scroll back down the page. And we see that Derry B. Thomas was born in Mercer County. Virginia Lee Norris was born in Kanawha. He was a resident of Boone County. She was a resident of, I'm almost sure it's going to say Kanawha. Yes, Kanawha. So they got their license and were married on the same day in Charleston, West Virginia. N.L. Carey was the minister. Alright, there. Copy that. Take it over and put it in your citation maker, fixer, whatever. Copy it right there. Copy the whole thing and put it in your family tree. That way people know you ain't a liar. Alrighty. Earlier we talked about, let me see, marriage records. Let me back up just a little bit. Marriage records. That was for 1926. Let's do my mom and dad. Alright. His last name is McGrew, but as we've shown, it could be McGreen, McGraw, McGrath, McGrew. And her last name was, that's why we use the percent sign there, because we're not sure how the machine spells it. Could be a little bit better this time, but mom's maiden name was Phelan. Let's change the county. Putnam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess how I know that? I'm in here a lot. Alright. Search results. Okie dokie. In 1958, Carolyn Phelan married Jack McGrew in Putnam County. And that's going to give you all the information. Marriage license. Now when you're looking at these, I want you to make sure that when you scroll down, this information up here. Marriage license. There we go. There's a date on which the license was purchased or obtained. That is not the date of marriage. Do you understand? 23rd. That's not the day they were married. That's the day they got the marriage license. What date were they married? 30 August. It's 1958, but there it is. In Putnam County, S.H. Craig was the minister. I know all this because that's what Mom told me. And it's in her a newspaper clipping at Elizabeth Baptist Church there in Bancroft. So that's I think, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, her cousin Nancy, who recently passed, she was married in 1967. So I'm thinking the marriage records do not go beyond 1970. Don't take my word for it. But it's a possibility. Now, what if your ancestor's birth or death record or marriage record is not at WVCulture? Well, you can always go to the vital registration. Just type that right there in there. I'll do this. Pages, default, what do we got here? WV Golf, jobs, parks, fishing license, governor's office. Whatever. I found this by Googling it. Alright, if you need me to research that for you, I will. Okay. How do you obtain a certified copy of a birth, marriage, or death certificate? I don't think they're going to send you something that is not certified. So what we're going to do is go right here I recently had to send and get a marriage certificate of my own. Now, I will tell you this. I went to Raleigh County first and found out they were going to charge me $55 to send me a certified copy of my marriage record. And so I thought, well, let's see how much the state is going to charge me. And the state is only going to charge me, I think it was $12, yeah, $12 per copy. Alrighty. And again, hey, this is a certified copy. You can also use Vital Check and have it expedited. I was in no such hurry. So what you do is you fill out the certificate request, whether it's birth, marriage, or death. That's a death. This is a marriage record. They're all going to look different, but the links are here in order for you to find. There's a marriage certificate. There's a birth certificate. Right. Now, you will also notice on this form that you must share a relationship with this individual. West Virginia and Virginia are closed record states. You cannot obtain copies of birth, death records from that state if you are not next of kin. So you've got to be a parent or grandparent, guardian, child or grandchild, a certificate of my own birth, yourself, your spouse or sibling. Otherwise, you're not going to get a copy. They'll take your money and your form. If you sent a check, they're not going to cash your check. If you send cash, which I highly do not recommend, they're going to send that money back. But they're not going to fulfill your request. And if they find out that you lied, you're going to be up the proverbial creek. Alright, after you fill this out neatly with as much information as you know, I suggest the date of birth, name of the person on the certificate, and the parents' names. Put that county in there, West Virginia, and leave the city and the hospital blank. Okie dokie. Here's where you're going to put in your information, where to send the information. Make checks payable to, vital registration, this address, okay? And you are going to have to send copies of proof that you are who you say you are, okay? So proof of relationship is required. Just because it says may also be, disregard. Just proof of relationship and forget the rest. It's necessary. Trust me. Send one of these and one of these, or 2 copies of one of these, or 2 different copies of 2 of these. Your social security card, a utility bill with your name and current address, automobile insurance, registration, any of that. 2 of these records, or one of these and one of these. Alrighty. Send it to that address. And if they can find it, they're going to send you a copy back. Alrighty. So hopefully that helps you get the information that you're looking for. Again, births are not going to be available here after 1919. They say 1922. That's baloney. 1919. The reason for that is because there is a slim chance that someone born 1922, 1921 is still alive, and they're not going to violate their privacy. So there you go. Hope that works. Hope that's information you can use. And if you have questions, be sure and shoot me a line, and I'll make sure I can answer it for you. If I can't answer it, I'll figure it out. Just let me know.